Here are the top stories for today, September 25, 2019. President Duterte is said to reveal the names of ninja cops soon. IP leaders appeal to the members of the European community to help save their culture from the CPP-NPA. 7 members of the Boracay Dragon Boat team died after their boat capsized off the island. And Kagbana village in Leyte rises from being a village infested by the NPA.
Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story, Malacanang on Tuesday dismissed an international rights watchdog's report that President Rodrigo Duterte's aggressive rhetoric may have made the risk faced by environmental activists and land defenders in the country worse. A July report from Global Witness showed that the Philippines is now considered the deadliest country in the world for land defenders, with 30 killings in the country last year. According to senior Global Witness campaigner Ben Leather, there has been a huge jump in the killings of land and environmental defenders, including indigenous activists, since the president assumed office in 2016. The report also showed at least 113 murdered environmental activists and land defenders, while no fewer than 65 were killed in the 3 years before Duterte's administration. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo dismissed the report, saying Leather should not generalize without investigating first.
You know, when somebody dies, we have to investigate whether or not that concerns whatever advocacy he has, or that is a personal thing. We cannot just generalize.
Amid concerns over pork insertions in the proposed 4.1 trillion pesos national budget for 2020, Malacanang said allocations for each member of the House should depend on the needs of a particular district. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo made this remark after Senator Panfilo Lacson expressed disapproval over the 100 million peso allocated for each congressman in the national budget. Panelo said whether or not the allocation for congressmen may be considered pork would depend on the evaluation of President Duterte.
Now, with respect dun sa allegation of pork, it's always the president who will decide. The president is a lawyer, so if from his legal point of view is unconstitutional relative to this alleged pork, then he will veto that, as he did prior to this budget.
The Senate on Tuesday approved on second reading a bill which seeks to postpone the barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. Senate Bill number 1043 moves the second round of barangay and SK elections from December 5, 2022 instead of the second Monday of May 2020. If enacted into law, there will have 2 elections in 2022, the national elections in May and the barangay and SK elections in December. Senators on Tuesday night have agreed to authorize the Senate Blue Ribbon and Justice Committee to release the identities of police officers allegedly involved in the reselling of illegal drugs. 17 out of 24 senators voted to approve the motion of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa authorizing the said committees to disclose the contents regarding the so-called ninja cops. When asked to explain the rationale behind his motion, De La Rosa cited speculations linking PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde to drug recycling. He said it would be unfair for those tagged in the issue if there is no truth to such allegations. Meanwhile, Senator Bongo on Tuesday said President Duterte would announce soon the names of cops allegedly involved in the recycling of seized illegal drugs. Go said the president still consolidating and validating the list of cops engaged in drugs recycling, but assured that the names would be revealed at the soonest possible time. He said the president still offers the reward money for the head of each so-called ninja cop.
Nandiyan po rin po yung reward na kanyang sinabi noon, 1 million po sa mga ninja cops patay. Pag buhay, kalahating milyon lang po. Pag lumaban, 2 million.
Online and cable television journalists are now covered by a law protecting them from being compelled to divulge the source of confidential information used in the reports. This as President Duterte signed into law the proposed amendments to the so-called SOTO law. Under the Republic Act 11458, media practitioners cannot be compelled to reveal their source unless required by the court, House, or the Senate if they find that such revelation is demanded by the security of the state. The Philippine National Police orders a manhunt against the suspects in Mindoro ambush, and the NCRPO confirms that the drug queen of Manila has already left the country. More on this from Bench Bondo.
President Duterte on Monday has ordered a probe into the collapse of a portion of Sogo Hotel in Malate, Manila. 2 construction workers were reportedly dead when the portion of the building collapsed while being demolished. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the palace is shocked and saddened by the incident, but hailed Manila Mayor Isko Moreno for being on the scene to survey the area. In other news, the NCRPO on Tuesday said that the so-called drug queen, who is on top of the drug recycling scheme involving ninja cops, has already left the country. NCRPO Chief Major General Guillermo Eleazar has identified the drug queen as Gia Gomez Castro, former chairwoman of Barangay 484, Zone 48 in Sampaloc, Manila. Eleazar said she and her husband, who is also a barangay official, allegedly purchased illegal drugs from ninja cops. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino earlier revealed that the drug queen is selling at least 13.6 million pesos of shabu weekly in just 2 streets in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde ordered a manhunt against the suspects in the ambush of a police mobile in Socorro Oriental, Mindoro on Tuesday. A report reaching Camp Crame said the suspects fired upon the police mobile patrol of the Pinamalayan Municipal Police Station, which was carrying 5 policemen, including the chief of the police station, along Barangay Pasig 2. The ambush resulted in the wounding of 3 police officers. Police recovered sacks painted with the warning, "Stop NPA ambush ongoing," from the scene. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Still to come, IP leaders appeal to the members of the European community to help save their culture from the CPP-NPA. At least 7 members of the Boracay Dragon Boat team die after their boat capsized off Boracay. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Because that document of President Duterte basically encompasses our aspirations as a people. Environment, progress, eradicating poverty, human rights. So that document is our Bible, and that guides the Philippine mission and the DFA in general in all of our engagements, multilaterally and even bilaterally with the world. This year's UNGA is different in the sense that there are 5 summits to be held, 5 and high-level meetings, meaning at the head of state level. And we already had an idea that these meetings will be held as early as last year. There are 2 events that the Philippines is organizing. So, in a sense, these represent some of our national priorities. Side event on migration, specifically human trafficking in migration contexts. This is a continuation of our efforts to make sure that the issue of migration and all of the other aspects covered by it, including human trafficking, is put at the forefront of the discussions. And the second event that we're organizing is middle-income countries. There's a group of friends within the United Nations whose aim is to elevate the issue of the unique challenges faced by middle-income countries. The primary world organization, where majority of the states of the world are represented. And it's become a very effective platform for us to talk, to build alliances, to thresh out disagreements, and collaborate despite our differences.
Eight leaders of the Filipino indigenous peoples community appealed to the members of the European community to stop funding the front organizations of the CPP-NPA. In a forum organized by European Institute for Asian Studies in Brussels on September 20, Dato James Binayaw of the Manobo Talaandig tribe said the CPP-NPA groups use front organizations with a vast knowledge of the Constitution to deprive the IPs of their ancestral domains. Binayaw said that for over 50 years, the CPP-NPA stole the peace in their community, stole their privileges, and trained their youth to become child warriors. He also said that their culture is also on the verge of vanishing as the CPP-NPA groups establish their communities within the IP communities. Meanwhile, Dato Joel Dahusay of the Matigtalomo tribe in Talaingo, Davao, said he wanted to educate his tribesmen about the rights as stated in Republic Act 8731, or an act to recognize, protect, and promote the rights of cultural communities and IPs. Bae Magdalena Iligan from Mamanwa tribe of San Miguel, Surigao, urged the international community to be careful in choosing organizations to help in the Philippines. She appealed to the forum attendees to help them inform the whole world about the atrocities brought about by the CPP-NPA in Mindanao and to stop supporting their groups who are responsible for killing the next generation of IPs. The new chief of the armed forces assumed his post on Tuesday with a commitment to end the threat posed by the communist armed insurgency. Lieutenant General Noel Clement succeeded General Benjamin Madrigal Jr., who left the service as he will be reaching the mandatory military retirement age of 56 on September 28. During the formal change of command in Camp Aguinaldo, Clement said enemies of peace will be dealt with accordingly. Clement urged all remaining communist rebels and their allies to return to the path of peace. He said under his watch, the AFP will remain a professional, non-partisan defender and advocate of human rights, but at the same time assuring the rule of law. Clement, a member of Philippine Military Academy class of 1985, was the previous head of the Cebu-based Central Command. He also commanded the 10th Infantry Division, 602nd Infantry Brigade, and the 56th Infantry Battalion and Joint Task Force Sulu. Labor groups scored the big-time price hike implemented by oil companies on Tuesday. Partido Manggagawa National Chair Rene Magtubo believed that the oil price increase should have not been implemented as these companies still have reserves in their supply. Joshua Mata, Secretary General of Sentro ng mga Nagkakaisa at Progresibong Manggagawa, said the hefty increase in oil prices are highly speculative as the government of Saudi Arabia is doing its best to mitigate the situation. Julius Caiglet of the Federation of Free Workers Nagkaisa said the oil price hike will take its toll on workers. On the other hand, the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or TUCP, said Tuesday's price hike will affect the purchasing power of workers nationwide. It also urged the government to implement a more proactive regulation to prove that the increase in the prices of fuel several months prior to the Saudi Aramco oil field attack were not overpriced. Duty Free Philippines is expanding its partnership with Alipay, China's biggest mobile payment platform, by including benefits and rewards to its current online payment system. The move will feature up to 20% discount on selected luxury brands and rebates at Lux Duty Free in Pasay City and inside Mactan Cebu International Airport. The strategy is in line with the increasing Chinese tourist arrivals and workforce in the Philippines. Last year, the number of Chinese outbound tourists to the Philippines has reached 1.25 million tourists, an increase of 29% from a year earlier. Meanwhile, Philippine officials aim to elevate the country's investment-grade credit rating to a level over the next 2 years. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno on Tuesday said economic growth is solid and sustainable despite the impact of negative developments here and abroad. From being dubbed as a sick man of Asia, Diokno said the Philippines has come a long way and is now cited as among the fastest growing economy in the world. He said the domestic economy is projected to be an upper middle income economy by 2040. At least 7 members of a dragon boat team died in a sea mishap in Boracay. Meanwhile, authorities in Pangasinan seized 900 kilos of bangus that are unfit for consumption. More on this and other news from the provinces from Janice Cave.
Authorities in Pangasinan seized some 900 kilograms of bangus in Barangay Bunuan Gazette, Dagupan City on Tuesday. The milkfish were confirmed to have died due to oxygen starvation, or locally known as tangok, which are not fit for human consumption. 5 fish traders from Sowal Town are facing charges for selling the tangok. The City Health Office warned the public against consumption of tangok as this may irritate the body and consumers could be poisoned. In Naga City, anti-narcotics operatives on Tuesday seized 3.4 million pesos worth of suspected shabu from a high-value target in a buy-bust operation. Suspect Jonas December Batucan of Canaman Town in Camarines Sur was caught selling shabu to an undercover agent in Barangay Del Rosario around 2 p.m. Seized from the suspect were 4 heat-sealed plastic bags containing suspected shabu weighing a total of 500 grams. In Sultan Kudarat, the military has confirmed the arrest of 4 suspects, including a Swedish national linked to the September 7 bombing of the public market of Isulan Town, Sultan Kudarat Province that wounded 7 persons. The suspects were nabbed during a joint military-police operation on September 23 in Sitio Nacan, Barangay Kayaga, Bagumbayan. Major Arvin John Encinas, a spokesperson of the AFP Western Mindanao Command, described the arrest of the suspects as a breakthrough in the resolution of a series of bombing cases in Isulan and its neighboring areas. Meanwhile, 7 members of the Boracay Dragon Boat team died after their boat capsized off Sitio Linganay, Barangay Manok-Manok, Boracay Island in Malay, Aklan on Wednesday morning. The Philippine Coast Guard reported that the boat was carrying 21 passengers. The Philippine Red Cross, meantime, said they have provided psychosocial therapy to the 14 survivors while search and rescue operations were conducted. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, experts are proposing measures to protect the coastal areas of Manila Bay. Let us catch a glimpse of Kagbana in Leyte, which was once considered as a rebel-infested village. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
New Clark City and Clark and also the other venues are ready. In New Clark City alone, we're already at 98%. However, the facilities, the stadium, the aquatic center, and the athletes village are all done. In fact, we've successfully tested them already, and we still continually test them. A lot of our athletes are actually living there already. Just yesterday, I was with our athletics team. They held their weekly athletics meet to serve as tryouts, and maybe some of our athletes can still qualify for the Southeast Asian Games. We also hosted our diving team, so they tried out our new diving facilities for the first time. So we're ready. The infrastructure is ready. Our transportation systems, the various point-to-point buses that we'll be using, shuttling our athletes and also the general public to and from the venues are also ready. Security is ready. Our great personnel from our Philippine National Police and our Armed Forces of the Philippines are regularly there, making sure that everyone is secure, not just for the games, but even for the pre-games, which will be held end of the month. So we're ready. We're very confident, and we will be hosting a great Southeast Asian Games. According to Speaker Cayetano, it will be the best games ever, and we're looking forward to that. And the impact, we cannot understate the impact. We cannot overstate the impact of the games. Not just for the local economy in Clark and in Central Luzon, but throughout the country. You know, Speaker Cayetano said that the biggest impact will be that these SEA Games will be the first to host esports. And I think there's like a couple of 100 million viewership of esports throughout the world. And you can just imagine the kind of media mileage and the kind of exposure the Philippines is going to get simply because it will be the first, I think it will be the first regional games to have esports, and we're really excited about that.
Experts crafting the Sustainable Development Master Plan for Manila Bay see the need to establish a resiliency fund for local government units around this water body. UP Las Bañas Professor Dr. Rex Victor Cruz said this is for helping those exposed to flooding leave their places and live in safer areas instead. Establishing the fund is among the proposed measures in the draft Manila Bay Master Plan he presented at a forum in Quezon City this week. The plan covers management of Manila Bay's protected areas, enhancing solid waste management, reducing pollution load, addressing concerns of informal settlements, enforcing sustainable fisheries, and encouraging environmentally sound development. The draft plan also promotes implementing disaster risk reduction and management initiatives. Cruz said they will submit the draft plan's final version to the National Economic and Development Authority around March next year. In our foreign news, the U.S. House will open an impeachment inquiry into U.S. President Donald Trump. The investigation will center on Trump's telephone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Reports said Trump sought to pressure Zelensky into probing former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, using U.S. aid as leverage. Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that the president must be held accountable, as it is the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office. Trump has acknowledged the call and freezing aid, but he has denied that he held up the funding to pressure Zelensky. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres challenged leaders at the UN Climate Summit in New York to no longer invest in new coal projects after 2020. This after climate activist Greta Thunberg's impassioned speech on how these leaders failed her and her generation in taking climate action. Meantime, Russia ratified the Paris Agreement on climate change, leaving Turkey the only G20 country not to do so. 59 countries announced a new climate ambition alliance. Another 11 countries signed up to start exploring commitments towards climate plans. Austria, Chile, Italy, Japan, and Timor-Leste also declared membership to the Carbon Neutrality Coalition, which helps countries develop plans to move towards net zero emissions by 2050. Another 66 countries started to work on net zero emission targets. Senators Bongo and Sonny Angara have vowed to bridge the gap between the government and the professional sports community. Go and Angara made the assurance during the first Philippine Professional Sports Summit at the Philippine International Convention Center Tuesday. Go, chairperson of the Senate Committee on Sports, assured the full support of President Duterte in promoting the welfare of athletes and upholding the status of professional sports. Go said the creation of the National Sports Center for High School in New Clark City in Tarlac will help with the development of young and talented athletes. Angara, on the other hand, said he will continue to support local sports development through legislation. He said the Senate has already approved the increase in the budget of the Philippine Sports Commission, or PSC, and the GAB. He said the Senate is studying proposals to raise the monthly allowances of national athletes who continue to bring honors to the country. Kagbana village in Leyte was once a hotbed of activity of the New People's Army. After decades of being in the sidelines of conflict, Kagbana is working towards progress and maintaining the peace with the government. Teresa Montemayor with this story.
Gone are the days when New People's Army moved freely in the upland Kagbana village to ask for food, recruit members, and secure fiesta celebrations. Kagbana, some 29 kilometers away from the town center of Boracay, is considered as the most remote community in Leyte. The village has 300 residents, including members of the Mamanwa tribe who settled in the village since the 1980s. Felipe Agustin, a member of the Citizens Armed Forces Geographical Unit, said children in their village are lucky not to see men on foot with firearms asking for food in their community. A former member of the NPA, he trained under the CAFGU in 2017 and is now part of a small force protecting the village. His cousin, Mary Jane Amat, lost her father when he was ambushed by the NPA fighters in 2009. Now a school teacher and as the first college graduate in their village, she is teaching children never to embrace the NPA ideology. Captain J.R. Cuevas, Operations Officer of the Philippine Army 78th Infantry Battalion, said the village used to be a strategic base of the NPA fighters, considering its proximity to Baybay City and Ormoc City. The military opened a detachment within the village in February 2018, manned by 3 soldiers and 30 militiamen. Locals have been producing high-value crops, copra, and abaca since last year and started their piggery business with the support of the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process. The former NPA-infested village aspires to achieve peace, attract investments, and tourists. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Teresa Montemayor.
Bacolod Mayor Evelio Leonardia says the 40th Mascara Festival will open on October 7, a day earlier than its original schedule of October 8. A total of 11 schools, including 7 in the elementary category and 4 in high school, will join the Mascara Street and Arena Dance competition on October 26, while 14 barangays will participate in the barangay competition on October 27. The 40th edition, themed Bacolod City of Smiles, will run from October 7 to 27, 2019. Let's check out the weather forecast from Pagasa. The country can expect fair weather until tomorrow as the northeasterly surface wind flow prevails over northern Luzon. Batanes, Isabela, and Cagayan, including Babuyan Islands, will have cloudy skies with rain showers and isolated thunderstorms. Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers due to localized thunderstorms. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
President Duterte is said to reveal the names of ninja cops soon. IP leaders appeal to the members of the European community to help save their culture from the CPP-NPA. 7 members of the Boracay Dragon Boat team died after their boat capsized off the island. And Kagbana village in Leyte rises from being a village infested by the NPA.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. Check out these and other stories. Check our website for the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government, how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day.